Welcome back to Gaelic Games Fan TV. Dublin have beaten Derry 116-111, and this is going to be the match reaction. Obviously, a little bit later than usual. Usually do these match reactions after the game and everything else, but I was at the game. It was the weather was fairly bad, especially in the first half. But all aside, it was a great game, great day out. I've been to Derry a couple of times, but first time post-COVID since I've been there. And it was, great place. Really good bars and everything else. And very much enjoyed it and very much enjoyed the game as well. It was a cracking game. Very entertaining first half, both sides going at it. Dublin obviously starting the better. And Dublin really taking the game to Derry. And, as I said in the preview show, after watching how well Dublin played against Kerry, I fancied Dublin coming into this. I really, really did, because to turn it on in the way that they did in that opening match or in that game versus Kerry, I thought as long as Dublin bring that same energy, that same drive as they had throughout the majority of the Kerry match, I think Dublin have what it takes here to beat Derry in their own backyard and hand them their first defeat of the season. And look, that was very much what happened. Like, Dublin started by far the better, and Derry were playing catch up pretty much after that. And they had a strong start to the second half. Obviously, got a goal, sort of early on in the second half, which sort of propelled them up a little bit. Or was it the end of the first half? Maybe I think it was actually. I think it was halfway through, wasn't it? But Dublin did what Dublin did, what Dublin do, and kept the ball for large parts, but not silly, hand passes without really doing anything. Very controlled, and some very, very good performers. Like Brian Fenton was absolutely brilliant. Top drawer performance from him. I think I seen a statistic in the on Twitter earlier, saying that he has been like Brian Fenton has played in every game that Desi Farrell has coached in either league and championship, which is absolutely insane. Like, few of them, he's obviously come off the bench, but he's been involved in almost every game, which is some level of commitment, isn't it, from Brian Fenton? But Kieran Kilkenny was very good. Cormac Costello came on, gets himself a goal, and it was a very, very good game. In fairness, shout out to all the lads in the chat there. Colleen here, who is here, and you'll see the Capture logo, which I've also got on there. So shout out to the lads over at Capture Athletics for sending out this lovely hoodie. We'll when we get this banner off the screen there, you'll be able to see it a little bit more. So cheers for sending that out, lads. But in terms of the game, look, it was a good game, wasn't it? Especially throughout stages of the first half. Like, Dublin really brought the energy and the intensity to the game. And like Derry, to be fair, like, fought well back into it. They obviously had that incident where they nearly lobbed the goalkeeper. Obviously, David O'Hanlon makes a great save. Shane McGuigan was absolutely brilliant. Like, some of his points he was kicking. Like, I was right behind the goal where he was attacking in the second half. So I've seen a good few of those points firsthand, and there was times where he had so little space, but he would still somehow create a chance or get a score or something like that. He was very, very impressive. I think in terms of a Derry perspective, like, it's not the end of the world losing this game. And speaking to Derry fans after the game and everything else, like, I don't think it's the end of the world. You've got 8 points on the board. You might even get into a league final, even if you were to lose your next two. But to be honest, I could see you beating Roscommon and whoever else you're playing there, as well as a Mayo, I think, as well. So look, I think Derry more than capable of getting into that league final. I think after this win for Dublin, and also the win versus Kerry a week ago, I think it could very well be Dublin and Derry in the league final again. I think it could be. And like, I think from a Dublin perspective, I think what's most impressive is how well they're playing at this stage of the year, which wasn't the case last year. Last year was very like the performances and the way of moving the ball and everything else was a little bit it just wasn't really there. Like, the fluidity of Dublin's play just wasn't quite there. But it's here now, and like, so many big performers, like Kieran Kilkenny looks back to his best. Conor O'Callaghan again, very good, 3 points from him. Ross McGarry, who, to be fair, is probably not getting the credit he deserves. He's had a good run of games now. Impressive a couple of weeks ago in that win versus Roscommon, he did very well, and in this game as well, I thought he was very good as well. 2 points. Brian Fenton, who as we mentioned, kicked 3 points. Costello obviously comes off the bench and gets the goal as well. And yeah, like it was a very, very strong performance. Like obviously from a Derry perspective, like they didn't have Conor Glass out there. So maybe that was a bit of and obviously Emmett Bradley coming back in, like his first league game, his first appearance for Derry county football in 2 years, I think, or first start anyway. So, it was bound with Dublin's midfield, with O'Cufford Byrne obviously in the first half, Tom Lahiff in the second half with Fenton. Dublin were majority going to win that battle, and to be fair, we did. We were absolutely brilliant in the first half, absolutely fantastic in around midfield. Brian Howard, I thought, had a very, very good game as well. Lee Gannon, I thought, was very impressive. Obviously goes off with an injury towards the end of the game, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Like maybe the drawback or the criticism from a Derry perspective would be like quite slow out of gates, which was somewhat surprising. I think they were probably a little bit, I suppose, caught adrift of Dublin's intensity to begin with and how well they started. I think they were a little bit surprised with how well Dublin started, and that it took them a while really to sort of get into the game. And obviously Shane McGuigan was absolutely brilliant kicking 8 points. But aside from that, they couldn't really get their other players, their other forwards into the game. Like Lakeland Murray, the only other starting forward who have scored. Emmett Bradley obviously scoring, Conor McCluskey getting the goal, Paul Cassidy coming off the bench getting a point. But yeah, they just couldn't really get their other forwards mainly into the game. And saying that, look, they still kicked 111, which, especially for a league game and everything else, that could sometimes be enough to win you a game in the league. But yeah, they just couldn't really get their other forwards in the game, I felt. And they just left themselves with too much to do. And once Dublin got that goal from Costello, like it was, you could feel it around the game, the ground. It was more or less game over. And Dublin keeping the ball, slowing things down, no rush. And yeah, it was calm and composed. Another player to shout out, I think, is David O'Hanlon. He obviously makes that save. I think it was a McGuigan who tried to lob him. Very, very good save, obviously, to palm it away. And of course, as well, like some of his kickouts were very, very good as well. I think that's probably been one of the most improved, I suppose, aspects of David O'Hanlon's game has been his kickouts. Because his shot stopping, I think, is very good. We've seen that in the last couple of years. But yeah, I thought he was very good actually in terms of his kickouts. And yeah, so I think that about summarizes it. Gaelic Guy says this is the Dublin we all know and hate are back, but I think Derry were brought a bit back down to earth. Gavin says not a great performance from Roscommon, has to play Kerry, while Tyrone can get ahead by playing a poor Monaghan team. Relegation, I'm afraid. Yeah, look, I haven't seen any of the other games yet. I literally only came in the door about 20 minutes ago. So I'll obviously watch Alliance League Sunday a little bit later. Hopefully, maybe watch the Kerry Tyrone game. Maybe watch a few of the games back and everything else. But yeah, disappointing results for Roscommon and Monaghan as well. Like I suppose Monaghan, it's not looking good for them, is it? I think they are going to go down. I know they've found ways to pull it out in the past, but I think you're just looking at it. I think it's going to be very hard for them to turn it around. Monaghan conceded 11 goals in 5 games since Rory Began left the panel. Yeah, look, it's not looking good from a Monaghan perspective, but I suppose they have been here and they have found a way, and if anyone can do it, it's probably them. But you'd be looking at it like there's only 2 games obviously left now in the league. Isn't there? There's two games left. Yeah, 2 games. So 6 points is the max they can finish with. That mightn't even be enough potentially. It mightn't even be enough. So, But yeah, no, cheers to anyone who tuned in. I was hoping to do this reaction yesterday, but the signal wasn't great and the weather was, it was raining here and there. So I was like, what, let's just wait until get home and everything else. But yeah, Monaghan play Tyrone away, Mayo home. Yeah, that's going to be very difficult because look, I think Tyrone would love nothing more to send Monaghan down. Last game against Mayo, look, they obviously beat Mayo, didn't they, in the final game of the league last year? Maybe a similar scenario this time around. With Mayo, sort of like Mayo aren't going to get relegated; they're going to be fine. So maybe that will. I think the Tyrone game is the big one, isn't it? Because if they beat Tyrone, they're on to 4 points. And I'll need to have another look at the league table again. I think Tyrone are on 4 points as well, so potentially go above them. So look, they need to beat Tyrone next week. That's the brink of it. That is the absolute brink of it. But yeah, we'll be doing a review show tomorrow. Tomorrow evening, we'll be breaking all the games down, all the talking points. Obviously, plenty to break down. And yeah, big result for Dublin. I expect Dublin to get into that league final now. In all honesty, like, what are we, 6 points on the board, so we're second in the table. I think, yeah, I'll need to have another look at the league table. A couple of teams on 6 points, isn't there? Mayo, Kerry, there's a few of them. So yeah, I think Dublin have what it takes now, especially with Galway and Tyrone to come. I would fancy Dublin to get over the line in both of those two games. And yeah, it was a very, very good performance. And I think as people have said, and to be fair, I know I've got a lot of predictions wrong on this channel down the years, but I probably did predict this one correctly, and I just fancy Dublin to go up there and, as someone said to me, put a bit of manners on the Derry lads, and look, it's all fun and games. Derry will be there, I think, in the league final. They'll be there when it comes to the All-Ireland series, the semi-finals, finals. Obviously missing key players, Conor Glass, who didn't start. He obviously didn't have Garrett McKinless as well. So you're missing big players, big players indeed. And, Derry will most certainly be back at the fore. And it's one of them where, I actually think a defeat like this could be good for Derry in the long run because, I suppose it's one of them things where you probably actually learn more when you win or when you lose than actually when you win. So yeah, look, I think we'll wrap this up here anyway. In terms of man of the match, I'll go Brian Fenton. I thought he was absolutely brilliant, absolutely outstanding. So I think I will go with him. Derek says Dublin are back to self-motivated standards and hopefully they can keep improving. They seem so motivated to keep going. Kevin says Derry had 6 starters from All-Ireland semi-final. Yeah, look, they did, they had the bulk of their lads out there, but they were still missing 1 or 2 key players. Look, Dublin were missing key players as well, in fairness, and probably should point that out, like Cluxton, McCarthy, Fitzsimons, a good few lads. But I just think Derry's squad isn't as deep as Dublin's. But look, we'll wrap this up here anyway. My name's Aaron. Leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll speak to you all later.